Welcome to the Daily Decant, your 5-minute briefing on the world of wine. Each episode delivers practical insights to help you choose, order, and talk about wine with more confidence in everyday social settings. Let's get into today's decant. It's Wednesday, and we are doing Tuscany week. Today, we're talking Brunello di Montalcino, and I want to tell you the story of a wine that was essentially invented by a single family in the 19th century, rejected by the broader Italian wine establishment for decades, and eventually recognized as one of the greatest and most age-worthy red wines produced anywhere on Earth. It is one of wine's most satisfying underdog stories. And the story begins with Ferruccio Biondi-Santi, a Tuscan landowner and patriot who fought with Garibaldi in the unification of Italy and later turned his attention to his family's estate at Il Grappo, outside of the medieval hill town of Montalcino. In the 1870s and 1880s, Biondi-Santi made a series of decisions that collectively created a new wine category. He identified one specific clone of Sangiovese, what he called Brunello, meaning little dark one, a reference to the grape's color, that he believed produced wine of superior quality to the broader Sangiovese plantings in the region. He planted this clone on the southeast-facing slopes below Montalcino in soils of galestro, limestone, and clay. And he aged the resulting wine for years in large oak casks before releasing it, a radical decision at a time when most Italian wine was made to be consumed young. The result was a wine of extraordinary structure, tannin, and acidity that was essentially impenetrable in its youth, but that developed over decades into something of remarkable complexity and depth. Vertical tastings of Biondi-Santi Brunello, going back to the earliest surviving vintages, have demonstrated that well-stored examples can remain alive and evolving for well over a century. That longevity is not a sales pitch, it's a documented fact about what the grape in this place with the level of care can achieve. Biondi-Santi released his first commercial vintage of what he called Brunello di Montalcino in 1888. The wine essentially invented a new category, and yet for most of the following century, it remained largely unknown outside of Italy and the narrow circles of Italian wine connoisseurship. The estate remained in family hands across generations. Franco Biondi-Santi, who ran the estate until his death in 2013, maintained the same traditions and the same commitment to long aging that his great-grandfather had established. It was only with increasing international critical attention in the 1970s and 80s that Brunello began to receive the global recognition it deserved. Today, the estate is owned by the French luxury group EPI, though the Biondi-Santi family retains involvement, and the wines remain among the most celebrated and sought after in Italy. So what makes Brunello so distinctive? Several things working together. The Brunello clone of Sangiovese, now known officially as Sangiovese Grasso, has thicker skins than most Sangiovese clones, producing wine with higher tannin and deeper color. The elevation of Montalcino, the town sits on a hill over 500 meters above sea level, creating a significant diurnal temperature variation that builds natural acidity and aromatic complexity while allowing full phenolic ripeness. The soils, primarily galestro with some clay, provide good drainage and mineral character, and the mandatory aging requirements, a minimum of 5 years from harvest before release, for standard Brunello, 6 years for Reserva, with at least 2 years in oak and 4 months in a bottle, mean that by the time a Brunello reaches the market, it is already developed significantly beyond the raw, aggressive tannin of a young Sangiovese. Even so, a young Brunello is not always an easy wine. The combination of high tannin, high acidity, and structured intensity means that the finest examples need additional years in the cellar, or at minimum, several hours of air, before they open fully. The payoff is a great Brunello from a great vintage like 2010, 2015, or 2016 at 15 to 20 years of age becomes one of the most complex and compelling red wines in the world, with flavors of dried cherry, iron, tobacco, tar, dried flowers, and a long, savory mineral finish that lingers for what feels like minutes. Producers beyond Biondi-Santi worth knowing: Poggio di Sotto, considered by many critics the finest estate in Montalcino, after Biondi-Santi producing wines of extraordinary elegance and precision. Cerbiona, a tiny estate-making cult status Brunello in minute quantities. Salvioni, another small, sought-after producer of benchmark Brunello. And for more accessible introduction, Il Poggione, a reliable, larger producer making consistent, excellent Brunello at fairer prices, with back vintages often available at special retailers. Tomorrow, we're going to dive into the Super Tuscans, so you won't want to miss it. That's today's Daily Decant. If you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe and share with your friends so you can continue building your wine knowledge in just a few minutes a day. We'll see you tomorrow for the next Decant.